My name is Trevor Herriot, and the book I'm reading from is my new book called Road is How, A Prairie Pilgrimage Through Nature, Desire, and Soul. I'm going to read from the opening of a chapter called Better Signs. Clouds to the south look like a full-on thunderstorm brewing. Just ahead on the north side of the road is a gas station, several miles from the city or any other retail business. As I approach, the sign becomes readable. Cowessess Gas and Grocery, Tobacco Products, Convenience Store, Full Serve. In the middle of wheat and canola crops entirely owned by white farmers sits this property now owned by Cowessess First Nation, a band whose reserve is 125 miles east of here along the rim of the Qu'Appelle Valley. Métis, First Nations, and white people have been fighting over the matter of who owns what pieces of the prairie for 200 years now, at least since Cuthbert Grant and his Métis pemmican traders rode out from the Qu'Appelle to try to scare away the first settlers just getting a foothold on its eastern edge where Winnipeg is today. The 20 colonists killed at Seven Oaks in those events were still on the minds of the juries that convicted Louis Riel and Poundmaker in a Regina courtroom 70 years later. With new treaties signed, the buffalo gone, and most First Nations on reserves studying to shed their savage ways and become farmers, the powers in Ottawa and Regina believed they had finally snuffed out the Aboriginal claim to the prairie. This anomalous gas station says otherwise. 125 years after Riel's hanging, he is a cultural hero, praised in legislatures and honored in the naming of buildings and highways. The Métis struggle to maintain a vexed cultural identity in hybrid form and do what they can to assert hunting and fishing rights. And while there is scant agreement on what the treaties actually mean, status Indians have fought and won new battles to get the land they are entitled to under treaties and to be compensated for lands that were stolen from them in the early years of settlement. This treaty land entitlement process is part of the reason there is a gas station and a convenience store out here in the middle of nowhere. Oddly placed gas stations like this one are popping up next to urban centers following a simple business model. Undercut the price of gas in the city, and even white people will drive out here to buy their fuel and get some cigarettes at the same time. After buying a chocolate bar and iced tea, I go outside to sit on an old bench seat salvaged out of a truck and leaning against the building next to the door. Above my head, a speaker broadcasts Tim McGraw's "Live Like You Were Dying" out to the gophers at the edge of the paved space. A sign across from me asks, "How much did Cowessess save you today?" Today, the price is $1.19 per liter, probably 5 cents cheaper than in the city. A better question is how they sell gas at a lower price than everybody else. I asked the man pumping gas. "I have no idea. It's something to do with taxes." "Taxes? If you have a status card, it's 10 cents off of this, so it's $1.09. "Okay, but even $1.19 is cheaper whether you have a card or not." "Yep." A sign in the field next to the station says, "Future site of Cowessess urban housing development." The gas station attendant does not know much about that either, seems skeptical. Like most Canadian First Nations, Cowessess is looking for new ways to support its people on a limited resource base. The band has 3,700 souls under its care, but only 700 of them live on the reserve. The rest, mostly younger people, live in Regina and other urban centers. When their ancestors signed a treaty in the 1870s, Cowessess First Nations would have been much smaller.